And now it's time for Media Watch with Charlie James, who has joined us on set.
Hello.
Welcome, Charlie. You've been looking at how Russia and Syrian media have been covering this latest alleged chemical weapons use in Eastern Ghouta.
That's right. So it shouldn't be that much of a shock to anyone, since it is state-controlled media, that they are very much towing the line from Russia and Syria's governments. But wanted to show our viewers just a couple of pieces to show the vast disparity between how networks such as ours are covering this incident versus how it's being covered by Russian and Syrian media. So if we look at Russia Today, it's a headline about the White Helmets, which is a group also known as Syria Civil Defense, which goes in and helps rescue people out of the rubble. It's a volunteer organization. They also provide a lot of the video and images that we use here in Western media, since there are so few journalists there. Russia is not a fan. They don't like this group. And here's a headline from Russia Today. White Helmets, world's most photogenic rescuers who don't care about civilians. Similarly, Sputnik, which is another Russian outlet, says White Helmets treat alleged chemical attack victims without protective gear. They allege that because they're not wearing gas masks or protective hazmat suits, that it shows that this is a fake attack. And then another very subtle headline from Russia Today saying, "Don't drink the Kool-Aid, West promoting chemical false flags as pretext for military action."
Right.
And if we jump over to Syria, the Syrian Arab News Agency, we see similar coverage that is towing the line. This one, Foreign Ministry, allegations of using chemical weapons, unconvincing stereotype.
Now, as we wait to find out if Donald Trump will order strikes on Syria, people are watching how a certain influential news show in America is covering what's going on.
That's right. That would be Fox and Friends, which is the morning show of Fox News. We know that the president really likes the show because he tweets about it quite a bit. And recently, he has tweeted right after stories where they've talked about Mr. Trump. This, for example, New York Times Politics tweeting, President Trump's tweets about the chemical weapons attack in Syria came not long after a report on Fox and Friends in which an anchor said that all eyes would now be on the president's response.
Well, he had to respond then with a tweet.
So this morning, people were watching to see what they did, and they are definitely encouraging a military response in Syria. They didn't have any guests on the program that said otherwise, that recommended otherwise, and one of the hosts suggesting that this latest gas attack means there's no way that Trump will want to withdraw forces from Syria anymore.
All right, well.
So definitely something people are watching to see how this show influences President Trump
the
again.
US president. All right. Another bad day. Moving on now to social media. And Facebook is not really having a good week or a good month.
Yeah, so just in the last 2 days, let's round this up. Just in the last 2 days, Facebook has had to suspend another data firm, this one called CubeU, for another privacy scandal. They were collecting data in the same vein as Cambridge Analytica. So this is another agency that was doing this. They have started Monday contacting 87 million users that were affected by the data breach to let them know. So check your inbox for that.
I will.
And probably the person bearing the brunt of this is CEO Mark Zuckerberg himself. He's been on an apology tour. He has to has agreed to go in front of 2 different committees for the U.S. Congress to discuss the data breaches. Here he is arriving on Capitol Hill ahead of meetings, people noticing he's wearing a suit and tie and not his usual hoodie for this. So
got dressed up.
Yeah, and another interesting detail that has come out of this is that Facebook has hired a group of experts to help Mr. Zuckerberg become more charming before he testifies. He is famously uncomfortable speaking in public and doesn't always come off great. So they've hired a team, including one of former President George W. Bush's former members of his administration, to help him with the charm a little bit. He also was skewered on the show Saturday Night Live this weekend, comedy show. They made fun of his inability to make eye contact. The character, Zuckerberg, played by this actor, also scoffed at the idea that anyone would think that their data would actually be private to begin with.
Well, that's what Zuckerberg famously said in an interview. I think it was in 2008 when he said, how can people be so stupid? They just give all this information to us.
Yeah.
They trust us so much with this information. So now we know what we get, huh?
Yep. So
we're trusting them with our information.
They were definitely playing off that.
Thank you so much. Charlie James there with Media Watch.